All right, it's 6 p.m. on March 8th. I'm going to call the meeting of the Macon County Board of Commissioners to order. And thank you, Sheriff. I'd like to welcome everyone in attendance. It looks like we have a good crowd tonight. Love to see people out and having some interest in Macon County. So again, welcome. Just a couple items of business. After your time, your presentation, or the reason you're here, you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting with us, of course, but if you're, just be quiet when you ease out of the room, and also please silence your cell phones. First item on the or on our agenda are announcements. Any announcements?
Yes.
Commissioner Bill?
No, Mr. Shields.
Mr. Shields?
March 26th,
March 26th.
Vietnam Veterans of America will be putting on a program here on the stage down here in celebration of the end of the war in Vietnam.
All right, we have a time on that yet?
Yes, 10:30 will be a parade, 11 o'clock will be presentation.
10:30 parade, 11 o'clock presentation.
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir.
March 26th, Saturday.
Deal. Any other announcements?
I'm sure to be mentioned, Mr. Chairman, you may be going to do this, but during our time of reflection, we certainly want to remember a longtime county employee and a good friend of many of us, Reggie Perry. Of course, Reggie lost his battle with numerous physical ailments, and so keep that family in mind. And his fellow county employees, Mr. Manager, if you want to speak to that a little, please do so.
Yes, sir. I was going to say the same thing. Please keep Reggie Perry's family in your prayers. He was a great employee and a great friend to so many here at Macon County for many years. So he'll be sorely missed.
Good. All right, well, thank you. We'll all rise. We'll observe a moment of silence. I'm going to ask Commissioner Young to lead us in the pledge. To the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, I'm going to open up the public hearing for the amended and restated airport hazard ordinance. We have 5 public hearings tonight that we're going to be stepping in and out of. Mr. Attorney, would you like to lead us off with?
Yes, Your Honor. Oh, I'm sorry. Been in court.
I'll go with it. I'll go with it.
I've been in court for the last 2 weeks. So the airport hazard ordinance, the building height ordinance, the building code ordinance, and the amended and restated wireless telecommunication ordinances. Those are all 160D compliances. That wraps up our compliance with 160D. The only substantive change on any of them is in the wireless telecommunication ordinance, and that is that appeals are made to the planning board rather than to the Board of Commissioners. There was a peculiar language in the last ordinance that suggested that the commissioners had some say on the building height and what requirements could go against the height to make it try to look like a tree or something if it got above a certain height. But that was pretty much all fluff. The commissioners really didn't have any authority to do anything. So we've revised that. That's the only substantive ordinance change to any of those. The last one is the soil and erosion control ordinance. We've already done the 160D on that. Just as soon as we did that, we got another note from the state saying that they wanted a few more changes. We follow the state model code on the soil and erosion control ordinance. And the only thing of any count that I even noticed in there was that you don't immediately get a fine if your silt fence is damaged or torn up. You first have to be given the warning, opportunity to repair it, and then you can issue the fine. So those are the only changes. The rest are all 160D.
All right, we're going to handle each one of these individually. Commissioners, are there any questions regarding the amended and restated airport hazard ordinance? I have no one signed up to speak regarding the amended and restated airport hazard ordinance. Is there anyone that would like to address the board regarding the same?
Mr. Chairman, as liaison to the airport authority, they are aware of this and they are fully supportive.
All right, any further comments? We'll close that portion of the public hearing. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the amended and restated airport hazard ordinance.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Young, second by Commissioner Bill. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Please raise your hand. Thank you. All right, let's open up the public hearing for the amended and restated building code enforcement ordinance. Are there any questions for our attorney? Anyone? Anyone in the audience?
Joe, you got anything?
All right, we'll close the public hearing. Can the chair will entertain a motion to approve the amended and restated building code enforcement ordinance?
So moved.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Shields,
Second.
second by Commissioner Young. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll open up the hearing for the amended and restated building height ordinance, 48 feet. Any questions? Anyone like to address the board regarding the same? All right, this is going quick.
Motion to approve.
Close.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bill, second by Commissioner Shields. All in favor?
Aye.
We'll open up the public hearing for the amended and restated soil erosion and sedimentation control ordinance. Any questions? Anyone like to speak to the same?
Joseph?
State says we gotta fix it, so.
Okay.
All right, I'll close the public hearing. Can we get a motion to approve the amended and restated soil erosion and sedimentation control ordinance?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Shields. Somebody? I'll second it. Second by Commissioner Tate. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Open up the hearing regarding the amended and restated wireless telecommunication facilities ordinance. Is there anyone like to address the board? No one signed up. Any comments, questions? We'll close the public hearing. Can we get a motion to approve the amended and restated wireless telecommunication facilities ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Shields, second by Commissioner Bill. All in favor? Aye. Satisfactory, Mr. Attorney?
Yes.
All right. We'll move on to our public comment period. Looks like we have several individuals signed up to speak regarding the skate park. Andy Markin, is that correct?
Yes.
Come on up. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you. I'm probably one of the few people in this room that grew up next to a skateboard park. I was homeschooled, and it gave me an outlet to, a social outlet to meet friends. Being homeschooled, it was difficult, and it helped me to build my self-confidence and self-esteem. And I moved here when I was 16, 27 years ago. And it was quite a change going from somewhere that had a skate park to somewhere that barely had sidewalks. And we used to skate out at the library and, around town. But it was difficult on my mental health and self-esteem, getting ran off everywhere we go. I had a friend that got his skateboard confiscated, and my children are getting to the age now to where they're gonna start picking up a skateboard. They're riding a little bit. And recently I've met some of the teenagers in town and talked to them, and it's kind of sad to find out that they're going through the same situation that I was going through 27 years ago. So I feel that skate park is way overdue, and it's not really a debate if it's good for the community. It's, to me, I don't know. Let's guess. That's all I have to say.
Where'd you grow up, Andy?
Colorado.
Okay.
You want to do
We'll
the
be glad
spring?
you're here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
Mr. Chairman, there's several people, I don't think they actually wanted to speak, but they wanted to be put on the list. They may be wrong, they can stand up if they want to talk to you. But I just wanted to let you know that they are here.
Okay.
So as you call them out, they may not come up, but they all wanted to be recognized as here to support the skate park.
Okay, thank you, Sheriff. All right, Olga, Ryder?
I'm Olga Pater, but this is my grandson, and he has to leave because he has to go to rehearsal
Okay.
with Scotty Corbin, so I'll switch places with him.
All
If
right.
it's okay with the
Sure.
commissioner.
What's your name?
I'm Evan Lampkin. I believe I
Hey,
talked
Evan.
here
Yep,
a couple
okay.
months ago. I'm here to talk about
Yeah.
the skate park this evening. I just wanted to say we're really proud with the progress that has been made so far and the efforts that have been made to push this into motion. We would really appreciate your additional support and if the county put into consideration donating money in favor of the cause. Thank you.
Straight to the point, Evan, thank you.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
luck at practice. All right, John Cisneros, is that correct? Come on up, John.
Yeah, I could tell you 2 pages along the lines of what Andy just said, but yeah, I'll spare you that. It's important though. I mean, there's a lot of low-income kids here who can't afford much, and this is going to be a free skate park 7 days a week. Awesome. It's a great place for them to meet friends, build community, and I've seen it in other communities, and it is powerful, and it needs to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, John. All right, Daniel Lawton.
Hey there. So now that we know how much we're going to need for the skate park, which is over another $100,000, after getting the land situated where it's going to be, we're approaching 12,000 that we've got through independent funding, but I think a lot more people are going to be donating from their personal assets now that we know how much we need. But this initial, correct me if I'm wrong, 35,000 that we need for the concrete and rebar, we're going to need that quick because the construction company that's agreed to make it is kind of on their way out as soon as they're done with the hospital. So we're really hoping to get this done sooner or later, get a big push. I mean, even little old super seasonal Bryson City has a skate park. Highlands has a great one. Cherokee has a world-class one. And as people keep moving in, like we get bigger and bigger, it seems like there's less and less for the kids. For the price of a skateboard, that's years of fun for a free public skate park. And anything affordable for the kids. The bowling alley's gone, the skateway is gone. Not every kid can afford $15 an hour to jump on trampolines at the factory, as much of a good outreach that is. And the rest of the factories, just cater towards knee-high kids. So I just really want to light a fire of importance. I mean, I'm sure the sheriff can attest to how bad, even comparatively to other counties, the drug issue is around here. And combating that just starts with giving kids something constructive to do. And I guess that's my piece here.
All right, thank you, Daniel. All right, Miss Olga, we're back to you.
Thank you. First of all, I'm here because this is something very dear to me. They have already talked about, 27 years ago and so on. When Evan's brother graduated from Macon Early College here 10 years ago, he was a skater. And in this town, 10 years ago, they were having the same thing. They were breaking the law because there was no place legal for them to go do what they like. And so these are good kids. He's an honor student. There are many of them like that. And I think that we as a community and you as the commissioners who represent the community need to come forward and give us the funds. Now, I'm practical, and I know that you're probably all in your budget cycle and all that other kind of thing, and we cannot do it because we don't have a fund for it to confront. But I believe that where there's a will, there's a way. And so the high school is going to have a huge reconstruction of the football field. The kids who like to swim have the swimming pool. The county also pays for the tennis courts, the soccer field. Well, this group of young people needs your backing too, needs your support. So whatever you can all, and I know you have all good brains, you can be creative, like in your home budget and so on, you take from here to put it there. So if you can possibly help them now, because they have a lot of free things given to them right now, but that other money is really urgently needed. And I worked with Mr. Shields for many years, and I know that young people need a place where they can spend all that energy, their creativity, their individuality, because otherwise they take a wrong turn. So do something for them.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask a question in regards to the skate park. Has anybody hired a contractor? Does anybody know, is there?
I think you're gonna speak next, right?
Okay.
Is he gonna speak next?
Yeah, he's gonna speak next.
All right.
So does anyone else want to address the board? That's all I had signed up.
I would. Okay?
Sure, come on.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
State your name for the record.
Oh, Mary Ann Ingram,
Thank
sorry.
you.
I just wanted to give you a little information that I've seen on Highlands Road. Twice now, there's been a skateboarder on Highlands Road. Once I saw him, it was almost dark. And I mean, we can't afford to lose kids because we don't want to pay some money to make a place for them to play. I mean, we've got a pickleball complex going up out at the rec center. And yeah, there are a lot of old folks who have gotten involved with that and they've got money in their pocket. But these kids need somewhere to go that it doesn't take a lot of money. And I know we got the money in this budget. And the second place I saw a kid on his skateboard was on Walnut Creek Road, which is the road. And he was coming around the curve as I was coming around the curve. And you know how people like to cut the corners. And if somebody had cut that corner, we'd have had a dead kid on our hands. So let's give them somewhere safe to be. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Shields,
I think he's gonna,
I think he was going, Commissioner Shields was going to request to add this as a.
yeah,
Yeah, but he was gonna be, I'll put him on the agenda. Are you gonna do that?
just do it now.
Add them right now if you're ready.
Addition to the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm under 8A.
no, I believe we put it
Sorry.
under, 10A.
10A.
But if everybody's here, he's gonna fix the same thing, I think.
Right. But Tim Shaw is also a person.
Prepared a little packet to give some information to you folks.
Thank you.
And give you an idea what our group, Skate 28 Franklin, has been doing. Since last year, we've been trying to raise money. We have a Facebook page, Skate28 Franklin, and we have a GoFundMe page, Franklin Skatepark Project. We've been pretty successful with those endeavors. I have some more here if anybody else wants any more. My name is Tim Shaw, and I represent the Skate28 Franklin Skatepark Project, and I thank you for the opportunity for letting me speak tonight. I'd like to see all the skaters here tonight and their parents and their grandparents here of skaters, and I see there's a lot of local business owners here today representing us, and I appreciate their support. The kids in our group have deposited checks in an amount of over $10,000 to the Region A Foundation. They are our nonprofit's fiscal partner. We will need much more money to achieve our goal. Speed and proper planning are going to be the seeds to our success. This will be a 6,000 square foot concrete skate park designed for all abilities from beginners to pros, and it'll be an approximate cost of $120,000. The J.E. Dunn Construction Company, who's building the hospital, has graciously volunteered to offer their expertise and some of their labor and some materials to help build the skate park. They will be marking out the features at the skate park in the next few days, and they'll be moving dirt in the next couple weeks, within the next 2 weeks. Soon after, they will be pouring concrete, and the cost of the concrete will be approximately $30,000, and the cost of the supporting rebar will be $5,000. They will need this money now for purchase. Once the initial pour is complete, a skate park finishing contractor will come in and safely complete the work, and this will cost approximately $12,000. And they will need to be scheduled for this process and now for the completion by June the 30th, because the J.E. Dunn Company will be done with the hospital at the end of June. And when they're done, they're going to leave, and we don't want to have just a dirt hole with some rebar sticking up. So our community will be forced to put more money into the completion if we don't act quickly. We're just sort of on a tight time constraint. Our group spoke last night to the Franklin Town Council, and the Town Council fully supports the skate park, and they are eager to complete the park by June the 30th. And they have mentioned in the discussion that they would like to partner with Macon County to help with the construction of this community's skate park. That will require clear communication with both parties. I hope we all can put in the extra time and effort it will take to accomplish these tasks. Our group Skate28 is in the grant process with the Tony Hawk Skate Park Project. They are known worldwide to support underserved communities to help build skate parks. You will find a letter in your packet I gave you from them that they are currently researching our community, and they told us that the median household income of Macon County falls below the state average, and they feel like our area is an underserved community that should have a skate park. So I was impressed that they are actually doing a lot of research about this. But if they should continue the grant process, and if they do, how much should the grant be worth? And so I'm going to read a quote from them in the letter they sent, and they said, "We at the Skate Park Project applaud any organization's commitment to support and engage with the local action sports community. We feel the Franklin Skate Park Project is worth supporting and look forward to seeing who in the area has stepped up to help create a space that changes lives and transforms a community." So that's important that they're watching to see who in the community is stepping up for funding, doing donations, fundraising. Does the town and county governments support the skate park project? If so, how much? So our success will depend on everyone here working together now, because we're on a time constraint. And I've mentioned this before, that Franklin and Macon County are known as the gem capital of the world, and we want to make this park one of those gems. So thank you, and if you have any questions.
Tim, I've got several questions that I've been asked.
Sure.
And number one, we're gonna take up the Skatepark request to Region A tomorrow night in executive committee.
Okay.
I happen to be vice chairman of Region A, so.
Well, it's
we'll be
convenient.
taking that
Thank
up
you.
Tomorrow night. So, who's gonna govern the skate park?
The town will, in
They
all
will
likelihood.
provide- In other words, there'll be an adult there at all times?
No, that is not needed. This is not, we're not reinventing the wheel. They have little skate parks all
What
over the
about
country.
liability?
There's a sign you make, and it's always approved by the law. Every state has one. It tells our ordinances, skating is a dangerous sport. You can skate unsupervised. We would like you to wear a helmet and protection, and,
Is that required and enforced?
it's not enforced. And I've talked to the Parks Director at Morganton, the Parks Director at Highlands, and the Parks Director at Waynesville. There's not police driving around trying to make sure the kid's got his helmet on. The guy in Morganton said if I did that, he goes, all those kids would leave and they'd be back on my sidewalks, on my benches, on my flower pots.
Makes sense.
In general, they police themselves, the children do, and almost inevitably, there's a parent or two there, because some of these kids can't even get there. And so it's not a thing where you have to put up a fence and a lock and make sure it's always it's taken care of.
And then all the stuff that I've read, and is it gonna be lit?
Not
Do
right
you have
now.
lights?
Not right now. The theory is it'll close at dark, but J. Dunn Corporation, they've spent a lot of time with Duke Power, and Steve Suttles is one of the supervisors that has offered to do this. He said that Duke Power will actually come in and put in poles and all the electrical system.
That infrastructure needs to be put in while they're grading.
Yes.
It needs to go ahead and get lit.
So,
If you need more money, put her in there.
yeah, the J. Dunn Corporation, they have a plan, and they're getting with Amy Owens at the town, and they're putting their heads together on all that.
So if the county should decide to contribute money, it will go to who?
Probably, we could just give it to the Region A Foundation, and then that's what we're going to draw all of our money
They're
out of.
gonna disperse the funds.
Yes, correct. So that way it'll be all legal and we'll have all written down.
So, okay. So the budget that you have, with the price of everything.
That's for a
if you've not
completed,
noticed,
that's for a
it's going to
completed,
All construction, the metal, the steel, everything.
that's for a completed park. The J. Dunn Corporation can make the skate park area, the basic part of it, for less than that. But then we have to do like an
There's
apron.
still a
and-
lot of money to be spent there.
It is. And they
How
have,
old is this budget?
say it again?
How old is the
We're
budget?
pretty close to from the beginning, last year. that-
Everything's went up, concrete's up, steel's
The
up.
J. Dunn Corporation is gonna partner with some of their people that have helped them build that,
They're trying to get a better price.
yes, correct.
So
And
you
they-
still comfortable with that budget?
Yes.
It's a one-shot deal now, Tim. You make sure we got enough money.
I have to attest, I'm not an expert, but I have to go with what the experts tell me.
Tim, was that, I heard Daniel talk about a $35,000, then,
Yeah, right.
$12,000. So you're looking.
Those are the numbers I'm pretty confident with right now that they need soon. Because the concrete, he said he can do the concrete for about $30,000. Rebar, $5,000. He's talked to the skate park concrete finishing company, and they said $10,000 to $12,000, so that's why I said, and it should take them about 2 weeks. And that's the thing, they're so busy, I would like to have somebody of authority call them up and say, hey, we need you these last 2 weeks of June, can you put it in your schedule to send a team to our county to do this?
So have you decided on a plan?
We have a plan and everything, but
Here's concept B.
and there's a couple pages there from the actual plan. The town
I
of
saw
Franklin
that.
paid $15,000 to the Pillar Design Studios, and they make skate parks, and they have an engineered plan.
This is the overall scope.
Say it again.
This is the picture.
Yep,
This is the engineered details.
some,
And this is the overall scope, right?
correct. That's the basic design, and that was, a lot of people in this room helped design that. John Cisneros, Daniel Lawton, and a lot of the kids, Evan Lampkin, the whole group of skaters got together and said what they would like in that park. And some of them are beginner skaters, so they said, I can't do this. And then some,
Bicycle's gonna be allowed?
yes, bicycles, rollerbladers, kids, scooter kids. Well, I've had a lot of older adults ask me, can I bring my roller skates? There's no place for me to roller skate
You will
anymore.
not be hearing that from this board.
There's gonna be wide open spaces in that design where if you just wanna skate back and forth, that'll be fine, and you're not gonna be in anybody's way. It's been designed so nobody's gonna be crisscrossing each other, and
So who's gonna be boots on the ground, lining up contractors, lining up concrete?
the J. Dunn Corporation. Steve Settles is in charge of that, but I believe he has like a field contractor guy that's doing some of that
I
work.
wanna make sure if you have the funds, they don't do their assumed portion and then leave.
We talked about this last night with the town council. The town council, and I agree with you guys, this is a government. They're going to have all the paperwork, all the flow sheets and all the invoices and everything. They'll have all that. I'm just not in that loop. So I understand you don't want to just give somebody some money. You want to know where it's going and what it's going to be used for. And they have that
a
paperwork.
contract, where it states that.
Correct. And somebody else has that. I haven't been party to that.
There is a contract, Tim?
I don't know that answer.
I think they're just a volunteer, they're just sort of working it into the way I understood it, and I talked to them.
Yeah, when you say contract, I'm not sure, like,
No,
but I think there is a plan.
they're getting the write-off for it.
I'm not saying anything. All I know is that every time this company,
And that's great.
J. Dunn comes into a community, they like to leave the community having made it better. And they've made parks and all kinds of things. And when they heard, Steve Settles, the guy, when he heard that we needed a skate park, he's a grandpa, but he is also a former skateboarder and BMXer. And he said, listen, I'm gonna build you a good park. I'm not gonna build you a parking lot with some metal ramps on it. He goes, this is gonna be a premier skate park where people from all over the country wanna come and see it. And so that's our goal. It's nice to have a skateboarder building a skate park for skateboarders.
Are you saying Region 8 or Region
A,
And they're the ones that's,
and Ronnie's probably has.
Well, originally they had the foundation set up, and what happens, and they can contribute some too, we're gonna hit them up too tomorrow.
Okay.
They just don't know yet. So, the money will be funneled through the foundation. Any expenses, anything to be done with that, and that's the way you want it, that puts the foundation in charge of that money.
Correct.
Now, let's say they get a bill for, they've got that X amount of dollars set aside in the foundation. Now, if you get a bill for, and you gotta have a contact person, Tim, and I assume that's you.
I believe it's going to be Amy Owens.
Well, at the town, somebody official, Derek would be in charge of the town money, and Amy and Derek would have to have an
Sure.
interlocal agreement with the town, which they'll write up. The attorney will write up with Amy and the town,
Correct.
that's the way I perceive it. But tomorrow night, we're gonna be talking about this, I just wanna make sure I got my ducks in a row. So if the foundation, if we decide to give X amount of dollars and X amount of dollars, and we probably do it, the way I perceive it, we've talked about in two different pots
Sure.
of money, depending on what we got in contingency. So the foundation, but let's say we want to have an out somewhere, Tim, that if for some reason we're over budget, you got to account for that. Anytime you do construction, I know a little bit about that. Anytime you're over budget, in this day and age, you can get over budget in a hurry. So we need us a little out there. So tomorrow night, we're gonna be talking about that out. And that don't mean it's unlimited funds. Somebody, the town, Derek, somebody it's gonna come back to this board or the town board to get you that money if you can't raise it otherwise.
Sure.
The businesses, I think, should also help.
We are trying our best, and we have several people that have mentioned that their
Okay.
businesses will generate some more money for us.
So,
And now is the time to get the word out. If you know somebody, I've heard a lot of people say, hey, my business will contribute $2,000.
I think once the county gets involved, you'll get a lot of help.
I hope so.
You've got to have-
Yes.
Because the town of Franklin's is really in kind. It's an in kind. Have you received a check from the town of Franklin?
Not yet. But they
And
gave
it's
us
not in their budget,
they gave us
I
a
don't think.
lot of property, and they have, and I'll tell you, them taking the initiative and getting that engineer drawing was a big help.
And so the budget at $150,000, and you're saying you need 35 now to get it kicked up.
Yes, and I'd approached the town council about that, because they're gonna be scraping dirt and getting concrete soon, and that's approximately how much he'll need, like for the next.
How much we got in contingency, Lori?
$339,000.
Let's, Commissioner Shields asked we add this to old business, so let's bring it back up.
We'll bring it back
when we
up.
get there.
Okay, is that all you need right now?
For right now, thank you.
And like
That's good information, Tim.
I really encourage you, if you guys have any friends at the town council, or if you know Amy Owen, just chat with them and see, and, get together, and I appreciate it. You guys have helped a lot.
Hang on,
Okay?
you're coming up again.
So this topic's coming back up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yep,
Tim.
okay.
We put him on the agenda so we could discuss it a bit more.
All right.
in the public
In
comment.
detail.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board under public comment? Going once, going twice?
So,
Sold. All right. Any additions to the agenda? We have item 10A, which will be the skate park. Any other additions or adjustments?
Mr. Chairman, if we could add under new business, item 11E, it's going to be a patrol car bid discussion.
Any other items? All right, can we get a motion to approve the agenda? Motion by Commissioner Shields, second by Commissioner Bill, all in favor?
Already have one. Let's get the money. Yeah. 32 million. 32 million,
All right, we're going to move on to item 9, reports and presentations. Pre-K for the Highlands area, Ahec, Advanced Highlands Education Committee. We have several representatives here tonight.
We have a little PowerPoint.
Yeah, go ahead.
Put in.
Two on the front row that please remove.
Get somebody.
You grab somebody from IT.
Password. Somebody's in here. There you go. Okay, cool. All right.
All right,
Good evening,
I'm gonna-
gentlemen. Sorry.
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Don't embarrass me.
You'll be sleeping in the doghouse tonight.
Better not interrupt. For those of y'all that do not know in this room, this is the most patient lady in the world. This is my wife, Allison. Mrs. Tate, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman.
welcome out.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for this opportunity for us to be able to come and speak with you. We're here this evening to express the need for more early childhood education opportunities in Highlands and to ask you for your support. You're going to hear from several different perspectives, and I'm here to give my perspective from the view of a child care provider. As the chairman said, my name is Allison Tate. I've been teaching the half-day preschool program at Highlands United Methodist Church for 13 years now. And I'm also affiliated with the Gordon Center for Children, which is a licensed child care facility at the church. In our community of Highlands, we are facing desperate needs with child care. We currently have 2 licensed facilities, the Gordon Center and the Highlands Community Child Development Center. Between our 2 centers, we easily have well over 50 children who are on the wait list for a spot. I know that the Gordon Center itself currently has 39 children on the wait list, and we are only licensed for 21 children. There are about 4 children who are presently in kindergarten who never made it into our center or into my preschool classroom. And we actually have 4 babies on the wait list that have not even been born yet. So we do have a task force that is meeting soon, that's meeting to help the community address our dire need of childcare needs. But there's another way that we can have some help, and we truly need a pre-K program at Highland School, at our public school.
Currently, Macon County has 5 NC pre-K classrooms, and none of these are in Highlands. Currently, there are 18 children in the preschool classroom at HCCDC and 15 children in my preschool classroom. So for example, if these children had been serviced through an NC pre-K program at Highlands School, our child care facilities could have filled these 23 spots with younger children. Pat Hedden, who is the director at HCCDC, told me that if there was a pre-K class at Highlands School right now, she could completely fill her vacant classroom tomorrow, and I fully agree with her. And a question is, where are these children that are not able to be serviced by our facilities? It might mean that a parent's not able to work, or the children are being shuffled around between grandparents or various sitters, or the children are staying in places that are not licensed or regulated by the state. And none of these scenarios is ideal for the complete social, emotional, and academic development of the young child. Our numbers for children who need early childhood education are not decreasing. Just at the Gordon Center alone, with currently enrolled students and waitlist children, we need 11 pre-K spots for the fall of 2022. We need 17 pre-K spots for fall of 2023 and 11 pre-K spots for fall of 2024. We have 11 children on the wait list for fall of 2025 who are not even old enough to attend our center, and 4 children, like I said, for fall of 2026 who have not been born yet. Another issue that we're facing in Highlands is the possible loss of one of our 2 preschool classrooms in Highlands. I am retiring in May, and although we've been trying for 2 years, we have not been able to secure a certified teacher to take over the program. I have interviewed 3 certified teachers, but they all need the benefits that they receive through the state. And what's more important is that these pre-K students need a certified teacher, and they deserve the best pre-K education that we can provide. And so Macy is going to go over the educational aspect.
Welcome, Macy.
Oh, thank you. I spend my days talking to 4th graders, and this is much more terrifying, so thank you for having me. My name is Macy Bears. I'm a 4th grade teacher at Highlands School. My 4-year-old daughter is one of the lucky few children with access to high-quality childcare in our community. Unfortunately, there are many who do not have that ability. As a teacher at Highlands School, the mom of a preschool-age child, I really can't overemphasize the importance of quality public preschool in our Highlands area. Providing students, regardless of socioeconomic status, regardless of whether they got on the wait list 5 years in advance, everyone should have that opportunity to develop those fundamentals of reading and writing at age 3 and 4 only benefits students in their future. So implementing a public preschool bridges a large gap in learning. Studies actually show that if you get children into an early childhood education program, it reduces the need for special education by 39% by the 3rd grade. Special education costs nearly twice as much as regular classroom education. While a public preschool, of course, would serve the entire community, it would be especially beneficial for our English language learner population. Having children immersed in a new language at a young age supports their oral development, which leads to higher reading ability in the future. Unfortunately, as of the 2021 NCDPI data, 61.6% of English language learners placed at a level 1 out of 5 on the grade 3 reading EOG last year. These children deserve an opportunity to become proficient readers, and that begins in preschool. All across the state, K through 5 teachers are engaged in a new professional development course that supports the science of reading and really how to intervene and support those early readers. Over the last few weeks, I have learned some alarming statistics from this course. The window for students to become successful readers is very small. In fact, unless students learn to read proficiently by the end of 1st grade, they are highly likely to remain poor readers for the rest of their lives and suffer academic difficulties in school. So at our current rate of coming in at kindergarten, that gives teachers 2 years to make these gains, or they're at a very high risk of never reading successfully. The addition of a quality preschool would give teachers 1 or maybe even 2 extra years sometimes, if they can come in at 3, to begin those basics of language development. It begins with that oral language. Obviously, as a teacher, my concern is fluency in reading. However, there are several other benefits to a preschool education for our community. Children who attend quality preschool are proven to be more successful at socializing, regulating emotions, interacting with others, and gaining confidence. Children who go to preschool are more likely to be employed, own a house, and have a savings account. Preschool is crucial in the foundation of a child's life, and the entire community is going to reap the benefits in the future. It's time for all of our Highlands community children to be allowed access to that public quality early childhood education, and not just a few. So thanks.
Thank you, Ms.
Yes.
Good evening. I'm not going to be able to beat that. Thank you. My name's Richard Delaney. I'm the President Managing Director at Old Edwards Hospitality Group. And I'm here to give more of a business perspective of things. And unfortunately, like Allison, I'm not retiring in May.
How is she retired?
When Melissa and I started here 14 years ago, we had 150 employees. We now have well over 500 employees at Old Edwards. I believe probably one of the biggest employers in the town, many of whom live in Macon County and most of them who live between in Franklin and Highlands. Unfortunately, the growth of early childhood education in the county and in Highlands has not grown along with the growth in our numbers. And we're seeing an effect. We do have a lot of our families in both the Gordon Center and HECDC. We actually have scholarships for our employees to help them with this. And we do employee surveys, and it's now become one of the number 1 concerns of our employees about their future, their children's futures, and where their children are going to get this education from. I personally have 4 grandchildren between the ages of 6 months and 4 years, 3 of whom actually are lucky enough to be in these Gordon Center at this time, but that's going to change if we don't get more access and more volume capacity. With educational options, with the wait list between 1 and 3 years, it's a problem that continues to build and continues to build. We have employees that have children that have been on wait list for literally a year or 2 years to try and get in to either one of these places. And it's so much easier and efficient for our employees, many of whom from Franklin that come up there to attend these daycares and pre-K educational classroom opportunities in Highlands versus trying to find somewhere down here. Our employees don't know where to turn. They come to us on a daily basis. They're concerned, and we don't really have an answer for them. And there's so many great families that need help. So I really hope and wish you would consider this request. And also, if you look at a business aspect, recruiting, as we all know, in this day and age has become harder and harder to find good employees. We have families coming from in-state, out of state, looking to Macon County for a place to set up home and live. And it's very hard. And one of the first questions they ask is educational opportunities. And at this point in time, it's not a great response because we don't have options for them. So anyway, we're at a disadvantage in several ways. It would be a huge benefit for Macon County and the residents of Macon County and the employees of Macon County if we could have a pre-K school in Highlands where these children could learn at an early age. And I appreciate your consideration of this matter and open to any questions if you have any. Thank you so much.
What ages of kids are we talking about that we admitted?
Typically pre-K is 4, but I know that some of the public facilities in Franklin take in 3-year-olds as well. So you could get up to 2.
Do you accept subsidized kids? You have to.
It's public school.
I think that the state pays for
Are they considered under public school
Yes.
at 3 years old?
Yes. It's better to get them in at 3 and realize who needs interventions because it's harder to do those interventions the older that they are.
Absolutely.
So we can stop those at 3.
Now, I tell you what we did in 18 and 19. We did one of the most comprehensive child care studies in the state. Matter of fact, we were recognized for that, and you need to get a copy of that. At MPP, I will get a copy, and I'll get it to our chairman, and he will email it to you.
And that's one thing we do not have in Highlands. We do not have Head Start, nor do we have early
No.
Head Start in Highlands.
And
It's
infant,
taken
and the
away.
infant thing in Highlands is also a big deal, because we had to send money back, because of the infant program. They were bringing infants, coming to work at Old Edward or wherever, and we seen where we sent a lot of money back to the state because we didn't have that available. So you'll get that report. The numbers may be different, but I'm sure they've not decreased.
Right.
And even during the pandemic, it didn't decrease. So we've got that. We had a large committee. We had the experts from across the state come and talk to us. And it's in a great report. And I think we finished that when, Mr. Manager, 18, 19? So it's got a little age on it. It was before we were still meeting till the pandemic. But I will see that you get a report of that.
Great, thank you.
And it's very alarming.
I think, Rich.
Yeah, Ken.
I think the pandemic spotlighted a lot of deficiencies that we may have in education. Help me on the national level. I hear pre-K spoken, but I don't think that pre-K conversation has filtered down to the states, has it? I don't hear it, because that's the ownership they would have. Right now, our structure is K-12.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're responsible for that K-12, brick and mortar and all that. And when you put this other piece in there, pre-K, there is a capital ownership there too. Have you heard any kind of conversation at the state level regarding something for the future?
Mr. Superintendent, have you got anything?
It's discussed at the federal level right now, but we've not heard any questions.
Right.
So this would not have been on the horizon for your capital outlay plan?
No, sir.
I just think everything you're saying is so true. And we discussed it yesterday in a business advisory council, the same thing about if you have a pre-K program and it's fair to all, everybody's eligible, then a lot of people go back to work.
Correct.
But it's hard now for people to go back to work when the half of your pay is taking care of child care.
Correct. Yeah.
And so we understand. I'm just trying to find the tool that takes care of the brick and mortar, and I'm not sure our states have that. I think our federal government has the idea, but I'm not sure it's flowing down through. So it falls onto the county.
Correct.
The brick and mortar.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it's a big challenge that way. But what you're saying here tonight is definitely true. We are going to pre-K would be a lift for every child and every family.
Absolutely, yeah, it would.
I do have a quick question. Sorry to interrupt you. I think this might go towards Dr. Baldwin.
Okay.
No, Will, if you have any insight, isn't this based on income, pre-K? Partially. So people that are making, you still have to pay for state-run.
There's private pay. Right now in Macon County, we receive funding from the NC pre-K program. That amounts to about 51 slots. We currently serve around 90 students in the county, and that's in the Franklin area. The funding is blended between the NC pre-K program for the 51 slots. We also receive funding for those students who are considered to be developmentally delayed. And I believe that money's from a federal pot of money. And then we also have private pay students who are allowed to attend, but they must pay.
So you accept subsidized kids?
Well, in terms of the developmentally delayed kids in the NC pre-K, yes.
Not just straight income poor kids cannot attend?
Only up to the point of 51 slots. But after 51, we don't have any more space.
How many do we currently have in Franklin?
There's around 90 students served in the Franklin area.
So there's 40 plus, 48 paying in Franklin now.
I can't tell you exactly how many are covered under the developmentally delayed portion of the money.
It's about $460, $450 a month.
I think it's $475.
If Medicaid expansion was passed, that would take care of that too.
All right, I have Mayor Taylor, Highlands Mayor, is going to be here to speak with the same. He's not here, and due to time frame, I'm going to go ahead and I'll just text it to each one of you so you can see his comments regarding this. Mr. Weller?
Hello. I think I know most of you.
My name is Jeff Weller. I am here as a business owner, a past parent of 2 Highlands School graduates that both went K through 12, including they did go to the same preschool, both of my children, that Allison has run for years, prior to Allison, because she was much younger than I am. I also wanted to kind of let you know how we got here. So as a member of Ahec, we had been looking at all of the options. We had been looking at, the media center, the classrooms, the spaces, and we decided this year that in order to really determine what we needed to hire professionals. I happen to own an architecture firm, so I was very well aware of this. I do this for anything but educational projects. But for education, we hired Novus Architects who came in, and we paid their $35,000 fee to come up with this strategic planning study. They came in and they performed various focus groups. We had all of the stakeholders, basically parents, staff, administration, Ahec members, et cetera, throughout the community, and determined, what we're showing on the screen, there were 3 primary areas, the largest of which we're speaking to you about tonight, is pre-K services. Everybody agreed after the stakeholder meetings that pre-K was the preeminent need in the community, and all of the rest of it kind of falls in place after that. And for those of you, and I'm sure everybody has been in Highlands School before, it's been renovated. It has been added on to many times. The original structure was there for 70 plus years at this point. And as you'll see as we got through the focus groups, we came up with these planning study objectives and provide pre-K. You can see the integrate project-based learning, which is PBL, you'll see in this report, and I'll leave this flash drive with you. This is a very condensed version of the full report. We can provide the full report as well, but and also enhancements to CTE curriculum, which is career training education. So, with that, they started identifying the needs. Highlands School, by the nature of its age and size and additions and constraints of property, you're somewhat limited on where you can go. We can't really add on to several of the wings because we've already exceeded the square footage allowed per fire area. I won't get into all those details. Most of you kind of understand what I'm talking about. So the middle school building, which is the newest structure on the property behind the building, was the one area where we could do some additions. But as we went through this project and we started looking at the areas, the architects came up with a scheme and a plan to add the pre-K to the elementary wing. You'll see in this particular slide in kind of a lavender color. We also then, you're required to have the direct access to playground. That's part of the project. Because of displaced classrooms, because you need to keep the pre-K more centrally located, not way off in a wing where they have to travel to go to main functions of the school. So if you go to then the next page, you will see where in order to expand the PBL, the use by the preschool, the pre-K, as well as ESL, which all goes hand in hand with the pre-K as well, but also in the school. It takes the media center, some renovations in it. Also maker space, outdoor learning, which we don't currently have any outdoor learning. They've identified areas where we can do those things. So it's kind of a snowball, as you know how most projects work. You reallocate certain spaces, and then when you relocate those spaces, where do you put them? And they're kind of busting at the seams as it currently is within the school. So the plan allows for, on the last screen, and I'm kind of blowing through this, you can let me know if you have any questions. On the last screen, you'll see kind of an overhead shot of the school. You have the soccer field, you have the new gym. Where you see the red, that's the only area that's remaining that has enough fire separation and you can add on. That's the middle school building on the backside, which is connected by an open walkway. And the red is the additional classrooms that are required by this displacement. So it allows for some additional computer labs, high school classrooms, ESL, et cetera, all within these classrooms, and we're proposing 6 classrooms within this scheme. And so the premise, I know you'll be hearing more budget requests through the coming months and coming meetings from the school board, but this aspect, in order to get pre-K and advance the career training, as well as the project-based learning, the ask for you all is $5 million. So that covers the renovations, the new additions, this pre-K setup, et cetera. And I think, try to go
So
run through
Jeff,
quickly.
make sure I understand.
Yes, sir.
The red area on this, on what you're looking at right here, that's a new construction.
That's correct.
We will not be touching that soccer field because I can tell you the months that we spent to get the soccer.
Well-
The soccer field's not gonna be touched.
And I will remind you, I'm in my 14th year of coaching soccer at Highlands School, so I will also tell you, I'm not
And
really
in
in favor of that either.
2007, we jumped through 928,000 hoops.
Yeah, and then we jumped through them twice.
Yes, we did.
Going the other way, so,
So that's a new construction.
correct.
And the 5 million, what renovations other than the new construction?
It is renovations of the existing 2 classrooms. That would be, that you see on the first design concept, I believe it's slide number 3. We'll go back to that page, or 4. Yes. You'll see in the lavender, that is actually where the pre-K is planned, and then you see the green oval outside, that's the playground, so it can have direct access. And then renovation would also include the media center, because we're taking over some of the space that they need currently, and we're expanding it so we can get into the project-based learning as well as the career training. And then also you'll see in the yellow, where we have maker spaces, there's existing spaces, but because we're moving, currently we don't have any spare classrooms, let's put it that way, and we're actually sharing classrooms at time. So this actually allows not just, I would never want to spend the amount of money that we're asking for and meet the needs of today. This actually does allow for just a little bit of room for not necessarily expansion, but flexibility. So we can actually handle the student load we have now plus pre-K, if that makes sense. That's a really good.
I want to say 430.
How many?
I want to say 437.
That's from K through 12?
Right.
What is it?
About 430 K-12.
Growing.
Yes.
So I do have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
First, I want to say thank you guys, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out tonight. Other than, well, taking care of our tax dollars and being fiscally responsive, why did you guys pay for this? Why didn't the school board, why didn't the county, why didn't the school board hire this architect to look into this?
Well, we actually, no fault of the school board, we didn't ask them. We took it upon ourselves. Advancing Highlands Education Committee has been doing small, more, and actually it was very timely. We did a lot of projects related to technology that we found donors, and we installed smart boards and bought iPads and things like that for the school. And thank goodness we did at the time, because then everything shut down, and then we could actually send iPads home with kids, because we didn't have that before. So we took it upon ourselves to say, okay, we need to kind of gather our thoughts, and we need to be able to have something that we can go to the school board and we can go to you all and talk about. And that's why we hired the architects.
Pardon my, maybe ignorance, but I haven't been here long. Typically, they put bids out for architects, and you guys don't have to pay that. But like I said, Highlands is a special place, and thank you. I mean, you saved us all, so I appreciate that.
And we really did it because we all feel, we have a group of 8 of us, and we all love Highlands. We all, I've been there now for 29 years, and both of my kids went through Highlands. One graduated college, one in college, and I want their kids eventually, if they choose to, do the same. But that's why we chose to do this, because we knew we weren't going to really just walk in here and pie in the sky say, we want this much money to do this, without having the basis of how we got here. And to be honest with you, since it is also my business as an owner of an architecture firm, doing project planning, master planning for churches and country clubs and businesses, et cetera, in addition to residential, that we all felt, the whole group felt that that's the only way we're going to kick this ball further down the road. So
I mean, have they seen this? Has the school board got to see this plan?
they have, and they have fully endorsed it, from my understanding.
We did.
Is the school board gonna bring it to us in their capital improvement plan for the next budget?
It was gonna be a part of the request, yes.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Jeff.
Jeff, on the architectural end of it,
Mhm.
through Novus, you paid them how much today? 12,000?
35,000.
35,000.
Yes.
Does that include the blueprint?
That includes everything, this is, I believe, 7 or 8 pages.
Concept?
It's the concept.
How much more do you think you'd have to pay architect? Do you have any clue?
Well, it's rough, I mean, you're gonna be talking between architects, engineers, civil, et cetera, because you're going outside the footprint a little bit. You're probably talking 7% of the total project goes
Scale
to
drawings,
Yes,
all
absolutely.
9 yards.
Yeah, based on a concept. And of course, that needs to
But
be,
you're asking from here on, you would like whatever this budget is, that picks up in the new budget. You've done your part, I think.
right,
So.
That's
we'd
correct.
Pick this up,
that's correct.
just to make clear that.
And I'm only speaking as an Ahec member, I would fully support us doing more down the road as far as filling in some gaps, helping with some maker stations and things like that, to
You know
help.
how them architects are though, they don't fill in gaps. They want that check.
Yes, I fully understand. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board regarding
Thank you, Jeff.
pre-K
Thank
for the
you.
Highlands area?
Thank you.
I will,
See, Crip.
So sad.
I will reiterate that if y'all remember from our meeting last month, I set this as one of my budget priorities for this coming year to hopefully get this project off the ground and help one of our our primary economic drivers of this county from a tax-based standpoint, keep that community rolling forward like it has been. So I hope this project will come to fruition. All right,
So,
moving
Mr.
on.
Chairman, are you gonna have a budget? We're gonna have a budget. This is for you looking forward to the new budget? Is that what we're doing?
They're kicking off the discussion. I just happen to be
So we're gonna see
I just
what-
happen to be
He said
what they're
5
using to
mil.
get here, so, yeah, they have that broken down.
We really need a
from those, so.
CIP project sheet. This would be part of our CIP, I would think, you know. What's that?
We never used it.
Davenport just presented it. Was
That's
it
part
last
of their
month or
capital
something?
improvement fund.
That'd be part of a $5 million project like that is part of the CIP. It's not normally something that's a normal budget item, so. Maybe the school board, or work with that group, could submit us a CIP project sheet. We could get Davenport to update, and see.
Yeah, to reflect their adjustment of priorities.
Right.
They bought every student in that school a computer. That doesn't come out of the school's budget. That's what
Pretty amazing.
doing what they can to help improve the education.
Okay.
All right, well, I'm gonna restate this. I don't care which process we want. I just wanna see it start rolling forward, and I hope that this board will find it with themselves to help support it. All right, enough on that. We'll move forward. U.S. Forest Service Plan update, District Ranger Troy Watson. Is Troy here? I don't see him.
I didn't get anything to the contrary. You must have had something come up.
If you're not met Troy, of course, he took Ranger Wilkins' spot as the district ranger. Don't know where Troy's at. He may be out fighting fire. I don't know.
Not in the rain,
Well, he goes all over the nation, Paul. It's not just over on Burning Town where they burn fires. They go all over the world.
All right, we'll move on. We'll step back if he shows up. No wrong door. Commissioner Bill?
Yes, sir. Oh, here he comes.
No, he's not.
No, that ain't.
It's portable,
Huh?
Let's go ahead and roll with no wrong
Okay,
door.
we'll go with No Wrong Door. We're proud to have the folks from No Wrong Door. We have Sheila Jenkins, the executive director. Is Dinah here, Sheila? Dinah's not here, but we do have Dinah Mashburn is our board chair. Vice Chair of our governing board is Mr. Derek Jones, and I think Derek is here. And so we've asked Sheila and Derek to come. You know, the county does contribute to No Wrong Door. And so we can't say enough about the job that these folks do. Business, unfortunately, is really, really good. So good, as a matter of fact, we have become the go-to place in our county, not only for the provider network, but for a lot of other things that before you've heard of the life report, Mr. Chairman, the executive director and Derek as manager of the jail and the sheriff will tell you about some new things that we ventured into. And this thing that was started on a shoestring, this is a true public and private partnership. Without our partners and volunteers, we could not make it go. If you've never been to No Wrong Door, there's been some criticisms apparently by some folks that says we don't do stuff like peer-to-peer support, and we don't do stuff like finding people that have substance abuse problems or mental health problems. And we don't want to hear more of that. They've never been there. They've never spent a day with you, Sheila.
No.
They've never been to one of our board meetings. They know nothing about what we do. So tonight, we'd like to have the executive director and Vice Chair Jones explain to you a little bit more of the stuff that No Wrong Board is not only doing, but expanding in. So, Sheila, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you for having us. We started 3 years ago this month. We started in a little office out on Sloan Road. There were 2 of us. We had a budget. We opened our bank account with $1,200. We've been at it for 3 years. We now have 7 staff and 4 federal government employees that work with us. And we are in a almost 5,000 square foot, and we've already outgrown it. So in the 3 years, and our budget has grown with grants and things that we've got. And we do appreciate the support that we get from the county and the town that helps us, that contracts us. That's how we get to go into the jail. I was writing down, because I know that I'd forget, so I was writing down some of the things we do, and I thought, well, it'd be a whole lot faster if I told you what we didn't do. But what we are is we're a peer-based program. Just to give you a little bit of background, for those that don't know, we're peer-based. To be a peer, you have to have lived experience with either mental health challenges or substance use. And you have to be clean for a year and go to school, and then continue your schooling and your staying engaged in their recovery path. So that's who we hire, that's who we've got that's going out and doing this work. So I just want to give you a rundown, and I'm just going to go through this pretty fast of what we're doing at the moment, and this is what we're doing at No Wrong Door. And some of the stuff crosses over, of course, into our jail program. But we're parenting classes. That's going to be that's offered at our office. Plus, we're doing the jail, but Derek will talk more about that. Prime for Life, which is a class. We do peer wellness. The state give out 2 grants, and we were fortunate to get one. It's a mental health block grant, and they give out 2 for the state, and we were fortunate to get it. So it's a new concept about trying to keep people engaged that are in recovery, because stats will tell you that in order to stay in recovery, you have to stay engaged and keep your recovery path going. But we provide, we have a big food pantry. Now, we don't have a budget for these things that I'm fixing to talk about right now. We don't have any funding. So the community provides this. The food pantry, we give out food, and we have homeless bags that we give out, which is a whole different type of food that we have to make sure that we give out. So we give out that, we give out clothing, and we pay for motel rooms for some of the homeless on real cold nights, holidays, things like that. And all that is not, the community provides this through donations. We've been, as Ronnie had said a few minutes ago, we have been extremely blessed. It takes a village to do this. We can't do it all. And we've been extremely blessed by the community support through churches, organizations, individuals. We've been very blessed with that. We help people get into treatment. It's very from the time we started 3 years ago, this last year has been extremely difficult to get people into treatment. When we first started 3 years ago, we was getting people in 3 and 4 a week. Now, it's very, very hard, for several reasons. Pandemic has caused a lot of people to have a lot of problems. So there's more people out there that we're dealing with that have problems. And funding, we don't have the resources. So we have to go out of the county to find those resources for inpatient. And it's difficult right now. We do transportation. We are waiting right now on a grant from Dogwood to where we're hoping to get a driver and a minivan to where we can get people to work, because we help people get to work. We've helped people get their GEDs. For those that are reentering back into the community, either from prison or rehab, we work with them and help them get back on their feet with employment. And and this comes from Commissioner Bill, you got to have a bed, buddy, and a bus to get started into your recovery. And we do the buddy is the support system. That's us at No Wrong Door. The bus is transportation, and we're doing that. And now the bed's a little bit, that's a huge problem because of housing. And if you don't have those 3 things, we've got people out there right now that are living in their cars, living in tents, and they're working 40, 50 hours a week. Not all the homeless they're having a job, they're trying. So, but we give out tents. We move people. We moved a lady about a week ago to Bryson City. Thank goodness I got 2 guys with trucks. We have a storage unit and gonna try to find another storage unit because we got a lot of people that give us furniture. We set people up in apartments when we find them, and it's all from the community giving us furniture. We set one girl up, and the only thing that she needed when we got through setting her up was a shower curtain and a can opener. We furnished it. So, and that comes from the community. So we take that in, and but we move people. We transport people too, I want to say, out of the county, even out of the state, to get services. We've been to South Carolina, we've been to Georgia, and we have people coming from as far as Toccoa to see us. We work with people in Clay County, Jackson County, the reservation, and we get a lot of that. Some of those come from the jail because they're not all Macon County people. So, and then somebody hears from us, and we sent somebody over to the Clay County jail, and his roommate wanted to see us, and he's a Clay County resident, so we didn't tell him no, we saw him too. So we have alcohol and substance use counselor on staff that works with people. We have support groups. We meet the people when they come through the door. We meet them where they're at in their life at that time. And then we do the wraparound service to try to get them on their feet and get them into recovery or help them stay in recovery. We're working with several agencies. We are working with the suicide program that Macon County got picked, the 5th one in the United States. Macon County got picked to do a suicide program for veterans. So we work with the county veteran office with Lee and Christie, and then I have a veteran, one of the peers is a veteran. So that all comes to work together. We had a veteran last week that wanted to commit suicide and sent out our veteran, and they're best buddies now, and things are going good. So one of the other things is too that I wanted to point out that during with the pandemic, we had a shift in age of people that we were seeing, and I know Derek saw it in the jail. We have the older population. We have been dealing with much more mental health issues, alcohol. The jail has had a lot of older people in there, drunk driving, domestic violence. So that's been on the rise significant since the pandemic, and it's isolation. I mean, it's and we didn't close through the pandemic. I mean, we put that, Ron used to say that we stayed open because we figured that was at the time when everybody needed help, so we stayed open. with the small number of staff that we started out with, we have made contact with 783 people out in the community has come in for help. And about 30% of those, not all of those needed treatment. They were already, some of them were in recovery, but about 30% of the ones that we've got in to recovery are still in recovery for 6 months and over. And then so if you can make it that 6 months, you've got your feet planted. So right now we're in the jail. He's going to talk about what we do, but what we do at No Wrong Door for the people that are in the jail is that we spend a lot of time. We work with attorneys. We work with probation a lot. They send them to us all the time. We work with the DA's office. So the judicial system, we're all up in it, helping and working, and they keep us busy. So there's a lot of time spent on the phones with attorneys because we're the go-between between families. We've had families, unify families back together. So right now we're doing about 175 contacts a month from the jail. Some of those are, and when I say contacts, it's not individuals, but it's about 175. But the time we work with them in the jail, and then we come back to the office and they make all the phone calls. So we're doing about 175 contacts a month for the jail. We have been asked to do Dwi Services. We have to get a license for that. We're in the process of doing that. We were asked from the state. We got a call from the state, wanting to know if we could do it. So we were underserved in this area. So we're going to shoot for that. And there's some other things that we know that we're working on.
Send us some more money for that?
Yes.
Huh?
If they're gonna have, see, our provider dropped it. They dropped it because they don't have the people. And so we're going to apply, Chile's going to apply, and yes, they're gonna send, there's nobody doing it. And why I'm talking, there's a new kind of homeless that Sheila didn't mention that nobody, you would never think about. It's a new homeless that we're seeing, and we're putting in motel rooms, a lot of them. Both parents are working, have children, 12 and 13. We just had this, and what's happened, they were renting a home. They were renting. After renting, they got a little protection. But of course, houses are selling. So when that house sells, they got 30 days to evacuate. So after that 30 days, they start looking for a place to rent. There's nowhere to rent. So they come to us and we try to find them a place. Well, you go to these places to rent, like we went down on in a community, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, a parent and 2 children, both working, doing the best they can. Rent was going to be $1,700 a month, needed first and last month's rent and a 50% deposit. Well, they can't afford, you cannot, there's several in this room that couldn't do that. So we put them in a motel as long, and there are some more money available at Region A, but that's sort of just putting it in a rat hole if you want to look at it like that. But it gives these people, they got kids, they're in school. So that's a new kind of homeless that a lot of us never anticipated. This is not the ones you see walking up down the street with a backpack that's looking for a place. This is not them. This is not the people we're talking about. And there's more than one of those. There's a whole lot more than 1 or 2 of those. So I think we need to keep that in mind. If anybody's got any brilliant ideas, we've met with everybody across the state, and but here in our area, it's become a problem.
The homeless that we see, which we see a lot of them, there's about 3 categories of homeless. There's the one group that is okay to be where they're at homeless, and they choose to be that way because they want to continue with their drugs and everything. There's not as many as those as you think they are, though. Then there's this group that we have found that have mental health issues. Not enough that they need to be somewhere, but they can't manage their money. I mean, we've helped people get in assisted living, and we're working with people we'll have kids in there that we work with their parents that may be 2 years old, but we're working with people on up into their late 70s. They're homeless. And when you start talking about that age group being homeless, you're talking about a lot of physical problems, not just the mental health problems. So there's just a lot of people that we've seen. We have 4 in 1 week, About 2 weeks ago, we had 4 that was over the age of 65. That was homeless. 3 of them were veterans. And with health problems. So mental health is a huge piece of the homeless. And then, like he said, the third group of homeless are those that are working, that are trying. And, you know, I don't want to have to live in a tent and get up and go to work. I don't think I would, but they do. So that's a huge problem. It's something that we're trying to address and see what other counties are doing and what we can do. It's also an expensive project to take on, and you want to take on something that's sustainable. So, but that's where we're at. You want to hit the jail?
Mr. Chairman and the board, we appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight, and I can attest to what Ms. Sheila Jenkins has stated here. And one big thing that stands out there is community and partnership. And what No Wrong Door stands for, one thing that she didn't touch on in its full entirety here is, in addition to working with the attorneys and the DA's office, we go above and beyond that. The Macon County Sheriff's Office currently serves as a hub, not just serving those individuals while they're incarcerated, but once they're released, or any individual that comes to the Sheriff's Office, you know, being blessed to be on the board of directors and serve as the vice president, and having Sheila and all the staff on board, we refer each and every individual that comes to the Sheriff's Office, whether they're incarcerated or not, to No Wrong Door. No Wrong Door, over the last while as well, that she didn't mention, is we partnered with NC Works. NC Works has came into No Wrong Door to their facility. Just in the last few weeks, NC Works has came into our facility at the Macon County Sheriff's Office, sits down with inmates that are nearing release, that have went through these such programs that we mentioned, and I'll touch on some of those programs here shortly. Sits down with them, helps them write a resume, fills out applications, and searches for jobs. I know that over the last 3 years, just since its inception, No Wrong Doors, that we have gotten several people out making $13, $14, and $16 an hour. Individual that's looking upon release in the next couple weeks has a job lined up. We've also referred him, and he's been through some of these courses and a peer support group with No Wrong Door, and those programs are available to him upon his release at the facility off of Thomas Heights. No Wrong Door doesn't get the credit that they deserve. It's because of this lady right here and the people that have partnered and assisted along the way, members of the community like yourselves. No Wrong Door is in our facility 4 and 5 days a week. And when I say 4 and 5 days a week, if one day they're not there, it's because somebody's sick or there's a problem. Even through COVID, we met remotely, whether it be through secure iPads or through the glass. On Mondays and Wednesdays, we're starting Love and Logic. That's the parenting class that they've already been doing within their confines. They're coming to the jail facility to start doing that for us as well there. We were doing peer support group on Thursdays. We did the morning time from 9 o'clock till lunchtime. We did males or females. Afternoon, we swapped it. We've moved that to Tuesdays so it wouldn't conflict with court schedules, because typically we have courts on Wednesdays and Thursdays. NA and AA, that's provided, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcohol Anonymous, is provided to us with No Wrong Door. Same guy that comes in and can do referral assessments, you name it, he comes in and does NA programs in the evening. On Thursdays, we've got Ridgeline Therapeutic Collaborative. They're a new group. Ms. Sarah Altman, who has served our community for many, many years, wrote a program at Southwestern Community College in mental health. We hate to see her go. She recently retired. Now we have Ridgeline Therapeutic, our new mental health specialist. Majority of the time, unless she's sick, would be Miss Sheena Ledford. She has already started and already working with No Wrong Door. They're bouncing ideas off of one another, because if it's mental health related, if it's substance abuse, we bounce those ideas off each other and get those individuals the help that they need and that they deserve. And last but not least, we're offering one-on-one counseling in addition to those group counselings that we've been doing for so long. Prime for Life, Prime Solutions, those are group classes offered in both locations. I know just in the last little bit, even through COVID pandemic, we've hit 84 inmates, and we've pushed those individuals through. We started Prime Solutions recently. We've got Prime for Life in the jail facility next week, week-long course. And, in addition to reaching out and partnering with medical staff, mental health, we've also provided church services, and those church services have also went to No Wrong Door and providing aftercare services upon the release as well. But again, I just want to thank each and every one of y'all and the contribution that it is made from the town, from the county, and each individual that takes part in spreading the word and what we're doing and what we stand for. It really means a lot. If we touch one individual, we change their way of life, we've accomplished something. So, guys, I thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight.
And I want to thank, I want you to recognize too, that we need to thank Sheriff Holland.
Sheriff, you got anything to add?
As Paul Egan would say, I hope this is fast. Couple things I want to say. First of all, publicly in front of everybody, I want to thank Sheila for what she does for our community. It's amazing. There's so much that she does in her organization. Not just she, just like it's not just me. It's a team effort. And there's so many things that take place that wouldn't happen if she wasn't in the lead. And publicly, I just want to thank you for what you do. Apologize for my voice. Talked about the bus. Sometimes we're that bus. Just last week, we had an individual who showed up at the sheriff's office, very impaired on some substance, wanted help, so he come to the sheriff's office for help. We immediately put him in contact with her, and we were able to get him transported out of the county to get him some help. Unfortunately, it didn't work because he changed his mind when he got there. But that service was available. We talked about the Prime for Life, 150 inmates or more. I can't remember the exact date, so I'm gonna go under the actual numbers, so I'm not wrong. Over 150 inmates had the opportunity to take that course and hopefully change their life, realize the reason for their addictions and learn some things moving forward. But they had to recognize they had a problem to be able to take that class. Something that I think is very important, this stuff doesn't make the news. You'll probably not read about it tomorrow. But there's so many things that happen. While she's been doing this for 3 years, many of us have been doing it for many. It has been a long, hard fight. You were on the board in the very beginning. I think Paul Higdon came on a couple of years later. Ms. Keyser was involved in that many years ago. It's been a long, hard fight. There's been a lot of organizations who thought they wanted to be a part of it and not survived it because of funding or whatever. And so there's a lot of great things that have taken place through the years. And I take a lot of pride in knowing, just as you should take a lot of pride in knowing. It started right here in this room. If some of you don't know this, but about 16, 17 years ago, it started out with a mere $20,000 is all we were asking for. $15,000 to start a program that was geared toward, with Mike Knighting, geared toward having that resource for that person that's in our facility when they sober up after so much time and realize that where they are and that they need help, that resource to go to. And brings us to her. That's what she is. She's there for them while they're there and afterwards. And it took this board to make that happen. Whoever was sitting on that board, it took that board to make that happen. $15,000. And it started right here with us coming before this board. And I know he don't mind me saying, but one of the people that was involved in that very first program, Reality Check 101, you probably sat through the class in school. You sat through the class probably, where we could take the inmates into the school system and talk about, well, here we are 15 years later, and one of those individuals that was sitting in that orange suit and them shackles and handcuffs, telling their story, their nightmare, is now their employee and has been clean and sober for over 10 years. I mean, to me, that gives me goosebumps. It works. And took a mere $15,000 to get that started, to get to where we are today. And I know it's a lot more than $15,000. In 15 years from now, it'll be a hell of a lot more than that. But that's just our reality. But
Thank you.
thank you for what you do in the jail. Thank you for what you do. And I appreciate everything that y'all do.
Well,
on
we
this board.
wouldn't be able to do the jail program if he hadn't have let us in there, and we were the only one, and at the time in Western North Carolina that had started this. And there's still some counties that are really reluctant.
The reality of it is, every one of us in this room, including all of you, have somebody you love or care about that's dealing with drug addiction or with mental health issues.
Every family.
Every family is dealing with it, whether they admit to it or not.
That's right.
Thank you.
And last but not least, and I think these guys deserve credit, you know, we didn't talk about who we have on the board, and who we have on the board is a wide variety of individuals throughout the community. We have paramedics. We've got Joey Gibson, you know, who's out dealing and assisting the public every day. Pastor Mike Barris at Teen Challenge, who we partner with in many different programs. Dr. Holmes. Dr. Holmes is on the board. So, you know, we're blessed in who we've got. Mr. Jimmy Garner, business owners and businessmen. So, you know, you come across people and don't even know they're involved, but I can assure you they're working their tails off each and every day for the betterment of the community. And again, it starts right here. And she's the front runner, and she keeps us together, and you know, we're going to keep striving.
One thing-
bargained for, Wade.
Yeah, well, yeah. 51% of our board, though, I want you to know, are people, and if I name their names, most of you would know some of them, I know for sure, but they have dealt with challenges and are still dealing with some, and they're on our board because we feel like they've got a better input, they got a good input, and they can lead us in the direction of what we need to do. So we strive to keep 51% of those on the board.
I think one thing we may be leaving out, at the inception of this, coming up with the name No Wrong Door, there was a rhyme and reason for it.
Yeah, that was, I was fortunate when I was president of the County Commissioner Association, that was my theme throughout this state, is that for mental health and substance abuse, we need to have something with no wrong door in it. It's took in a place or two. Vance County is now a 3-county area. Valle is now 31 counties. I'm vice chairman of Valle, and so there's 31 counties in Valle now. Out of those 31 counties, about 4 of them has picked up No Wrong Door's name. It's not a franchise name. So for Vance County's No Wrong Door, you're gonna see it starting in Caldwell County. These counties don't even have jail programs. They set the model. I mean, back when, 15 years ago, when we all worked together, and Paul remembers this, we set the model for jail programs. Now these counties are picking up the model, and Macon County led the way in the state. And we've been recognized for that. The secretary, if you remember, Dave Richards came to this county from the DHHS, and he is the one from DHHS in charge of Coley Billings Lab. We were in Asheville last Saturday. And Cody, our new secretary of DHHS, recognized our jail program and No Wrong Door in front of everybody. So, see, it's things like that don't mean a whole lot, but it does give you validation that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And during the pandemic, we're having real trouble with clinicians. We're lucky to have local people involved, but clinicians are just, these kids get out of school with a degree, they throw it out into the fire with no mentorship, and they last about 8 months. So it's a real problem, and it does affect every family in our county, in our state. You talk about pandemics with the COVID, don't compare. Don't compare to substance abuse and mental health. Affects every family. Some you can see it on the surface, some you have to look a little deeper. We found that out too.
Yeah, I've said that all along, that COVID's nowhere near touched what the effects, the after effects, like the mental health and that's coming from it. So, but
Thank you.
hopefully the next time we talk, we'll be in the schools.
Thank you.
Anybody else need a break? We'll stand in recess for 5 minutes.
Allison done good.
recognition of Macon County Crawford Senior Centers. Volunteers, Administrative Officer Jennifer Hollyfield. Welcome, Jennifer.
Hello, hello. And Paul, I promise 5 minutes. 5 minutes. You set your watch by me. When I get close to it, 4.5, give me a signal.
You take 45 if you want.
No, it won't be that. I got a dog ready to go. She's probably about to pop at home. Good evening, and thank you for letting me talk just a couple minutes about something I'm truly passionate about at the Senior Center, and that's our volunteers. First things first, they are simply the best. We have some of the most dedicated volunteers around, and I cannot begin to brag on them enough. As you guys are all too familiar with, COVID-19 made huge impacts and continues to make impacts on everything. And that is true with our volunteers. Yet those volunteers that we have to remain active along with the staff have persevered and continued to serve the seniors in Macon County. We did lose quite a few volunteers. About half our volunteers did decide that it was a little too scary to get out and be delivering meals in homes or to be in the building. But those who remained are truly, truly to be commended. They have stuck it out for the last 2 years in not the best of circumstances. In calendar year 2021, our volunteers donated about 3,200 hours to Macon County Senior Services. That number is down from 2020. In 2020, we actually had about 4,300 volunteer hours. According to the independent sector, those hours are worth about $91,000 to Macon County, while those volunteers contribute. So they are truly, truly an asset to me and my staff. The simple answer as to what happened to them was COVID-19. Quite a few of them, the moment that COVID-19 became prevalent, they became concerned about their own health and they decided to step back. I don't want this, though, to undermine the amazing work that the volunteers do contribute to our center. Without their commitments, there is no way my staff could have delivered the meals, led Zoom classes, and helped seniors with open enrollment for the last year. They contribute so much to our county. And I just want to kind of break down a few things that has happened in the county despite COVID-19. For our SHIP program, which is our State Health Insurance Information Program, we have 1 paid staff person and 5 volunteers, and they counseled 676 individuals, mainly over the telephone during 2021. And those volunteers contributed almost 400 hours during 2021. And that's all working by the phone and working on their laptops at home. Our activities volunteers in 2021 provided 820 hours to the center. That's actually up compared to 2020, which they only contributed about 630. Those are the folks who are there doing Zoom classes. They've started doing classes also at the community building. So those volunteers have actually stepped it up. So yes, our seniors are getting services. We have primarily 3 volunteer instructors and 2 paid part-time staff who lead multiple Zoom classes every single day for our folks. We are, like I said, starting some individual classes, one-on-ones down at our in-person classes at the community building. The reason we chose there is that does allow us to properly social distance, which is something still very, very important to our older adults in the community. Home delivered meals definitely remain one of our strong centers. In 2021, they contributed close to 1,000 hours to us. As I mentioned, that was probably one of our hardest hit areas. We did lose most of our drivers, probably about half of them in 2021, but thanks to transit and my staff, they have been able to make sure these meals are still being delivered. In 2021, there were over 10,000 meals delivered to homebound seniors in Macon County. That's both in Highlands and in Franklin. The majority of that is thanks to our volunteers. In addition, at our congregate drive-through, we have served 26,000 meals to 362 different congregate participants. Just so a little comparison, in 2019, we served about 11,000 congregate meals in our dining room. It was a quick flip for us. We literally flipped that switch overnight and started operating a drive-through. So it has been a huge, huge success for us. Our volunteers range in age from 32 to 88. We had a couple who were in their 90s, and when COVID came about, they decided they would have to step back. And, kind of can't blame them, and they're in their 90s out there volunteering. The majority of our volunteers range in their 70s to 80s. But like I said, we do have some in their early 30s who still, and the ironic part with her is she actually was an employee at Senior Services. And when she left to help her husband in his business, she was so passionate about it, she continued to volunteer for us. So as you can see, there's not enough great things I can say about those volunteers. They are meeting the needs of our community. And my role over Senior Services has just been blessed and enhanced by having these group of volunteers. They are awesome. They make it worth every day handing out those meals. They want to give you a hug. They want to, they want to thank you. And we're like, y'all are the ones we need to thank. So I would love for y'all to please honor their continued efforts by recognizing April 17th through 23rd as Macon County Volunteer Week.
What Jennifer left out, Mr. Chairman, I'm proud to be liaison to them also. And what you gotta remember, and you got a new staff member you're gonna introduce, I know.
Oh, I can introduce him, yes.
And what, Mr. Chairman, what's so special about this? A lot of the times, more often than not, this is the only other person this person sees on a regular basis.
And it's different people, but yes, for a lot of them, that is the face.
And especially during this pandemic, they've done a whole lot more than deliver meals.
Mhm.
And we can get into the weeds as much as we want to, but we're just very fortunate, Mr. Chairman. And I'd make a motion that we adopt this resolution recognition of Macon County Crawford Senior Center volunteers with pleasure.
Proclaiming April 17th to 23rd, 2022 as Macon County Volunteer Week. Motion by Commissioner Bill, second by Commissioner Young. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are you going to introduce
y'all?
Oh, I will introduce you real quick. We are fortunate to have a new adult day supervisor, and that's Mr. Donnie Chapman. He's been with us now about a month. We do have adult day open. We have about 6 active participants in there right now, and probably about 6 or so more pending to start in the program. So knocking on wood, I will be fully staffed maybe within the next couple weeks, and I better knock on wood.
And what needs to be said about our new, what people don't understand is, we're one of the very few that does adult daycare.
Yes,
In the
sir.
state, not only around here, but in the state. Medicaid only pays $30 a day.
Yep.
Yes.
To not only your job, but and that keeps these people at home.
Yeah.
So we're very proud that in Jennifer's budget, we've always been able to pass that budget.
We
The
have.
majority of this board has, in the future to take care of these folks. So we hope you're overcrowded again, and you will be soon.
We will.
Commissioner, if I may,
Thank you.
I am very humbled to have this position. When I met Jennifer and interviewed for this position along with Paige from DSS, I came from being a former Tennessean over here. You'll have to forgive me of that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And I looked for something to be fulfilling about not only my personal life, but also my professional life. And having done both youth ministry in the past and also several different outreaches in my native home, Tennessee, I really had longed for that over here. And I really do feel humbled to be in this position and also to have this opportunity presented for me.
We're glad you're here.
Welcome. Thank you.
Look
Thank
forward
you.
to working
Yeah.
with you.
Thank you.
Did I do it?
Almost.
Pretty close, wasn't it?
Passing grade.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
All right, moving on to,
Tim Sharp.
yeah, our Forest Service hasn't showed up, correct?
No, he's not here.
Derek, let's put him on he needs to come address that plan. So if you can, if you can make sure he's on our
Did he call
April
and tell you he
agenda.
wouldn't be here?
No, I hadn't heard from him as of.
Who signed him up?
I talked to him, I emailed him.
Can we find him?
Give us all Jim's thing.
I'll make sure he's on our April agenda if you don't mind.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, moving on to old business, Skatepark.
Tim Sharp.
Welcome back.
Okay.
Long trip.
For any questions you want. I will say, in the time we've been here, I've had 4 different people contact me to help with donations, and One guy's a
There you go.
contractor, and he has a crew that when we do the concrete pour, he'll have everybody come. So it's been a good night
cool.
for me.
Tim, let me make this motion and see what you think about it.
Okay.
Like to make a motion that the Macon County Commissioners allot $35,000 to come from contingency for you to, or Region A needs to be a partner in your.
You're the conduit.
Okay, the conduit, and allot you $35,000, and we need to make sure that this money is in Region A by, not by, but June the 30th is your drop dead date, right? So I make a motion again that we would allot Region A $35,000 to go to the SK 826 Skatepark. I guess immediately.
Yeah.
What about
Well,
next year's budget, Ms. Sheila?
we have
Did you wanna,
Go ahead.
they're asking for 50 and that makes it 70 if you wanna do.
Tim and I talked about a while ago, and I told him that when the next budget session starts, that he'd probably come back and we would go back over this
July.
in July.
This coming July?
Yes.
Or do you want
Right.
them to submit it as part of what we consider when we adopt the budget?
That's right.
April 15th is the deadline for outside agencies to ask for funding.
Okay, is there a,
So if you could maybe send it to the county manager.
okay, is there a form or is it just a letter? I'm new to all this
Just an email.
politics.
There's no form, so just lay out what you need and the purposes, just an email. would
You
be
got,
fine.
have you got your information, Gary?
Yeah, I sent you a letter earlier. Is that letter similar to what you would want?
Yeah, just requesting a dollar amount and what it'll go to.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion on the floor
Second.
for $35,000 from contingency, a second by Commissioner Bill. Discussion.
Now, Tim, back to Commissioner Young's question, boots on the ground, who's gonna, that's a big question. I mean, you gotta have somebody that is the boss.
Mhm.
So who is that? Do we know that yet, or are you gonna let this contractor?
Amy
I'm not
Owens,
so sure
Amy
they're
Owens
gonna
with the
be-
town.
Are they gonna do the layout of it?
Yes. She's dealing with them directly. They have all the paperwork.
So Amy has that.
Yes. So if you put the money into Region A, when he needs something, he will contact her and she makes sure that money is used.
We'll work with Amy on that.
Great.
But there will be somebody with boots on the ground that knows what they're doing, like Josh says, won't get a
Yep.
foot and dug and hit lay down and rain in it for 3 weeks.
Nope.
That's what we're worried.
Like I
about,
said, the
you know.
contractor, he is a skateboarder and he's a grandparent and he has grandkids and he wants to build a nice skate
As long as we
park.
got boots on the ground, that's my only
To
problem.
what phase is he gonna bring us through?
Clear to the completion. He is dealing, he wants to deal with the finish contractors, because ideally you have a skate park finish contractor come in and do all the little transitions so that's safe and skatable. It would be similar to if you had some guy come in and build a basketball court, but it would be lumpy. We don't want that. We want the guy that knows how to build a basketball court, make a nice smooth basketball court, and that's why we
And
need
this is
to.
not regular concrete.
No, there's a grade to it. Correct.
It's a hydraulic cement base.
And the full plan that I just gave you a few pages from it explains all that. And there's specific engineering details that they require that you do.
If this motion passes, what we'll do is, tomorrow night, we'll bring it up for discussion. Amy will talk to the county manager if it passes, and we'll get underway.
All right, great. I appreciate your cooperation. It's nice when we can all work together like
Appreciate
that.
your work
Thank you.
in the community.
Awesome.
Any further questions, discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, I appreciate it.
Thank you,
I'm
Tim.
gonna get out of your hair. Thank you.
Get those papers delivered.
Yeah, I gotta go up and read now.
Moving on to new business, Business Development Center lease renewals. Economic Development Director, Mr. Tommy Jenkins. Welcome, Tommy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
One is AG1
Yeah,
LLC.
we've
Tech
got
SSL,
three leases to renew this evening. All these businesses have done well considering the pandemic. They've grown in employees and building their businesses. So first one's AG1, which is in the business of actually organic hemp farm, which they use the BDC to process, package, and distribute their product. And this will be their third year at the Business Development Center, so
You need to do these one at a time, Tommy, or do all three of them?
probably one at a time.
Motion to approve the first one presented by
AG1 LLC, we have a motion by Commissioner Bill. second
You
by
got a
Commissioner
resolution
Shields.
first, and then you got a lease to approve.
We're approving the lease.
Resolution.
The date's on the, real quick, the date on the
Through
AG1
November
goes-
30th, 2022.
Right.
At a rate of $1,840 a month is added to that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right. Is there anything else? You were saying something about a resolution. Do we need to?
You got a
We need
resolution?
to do a
Yeah,
resolution.
we've got that.
Okay, good deal.
There's basically 2 items per the business. You have to adopt a resolution which declares the property
Surplus.
And then the second one is to approve the actual lease.
And
All
that,
right.
both of them included in my motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Okay.
We got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Same for Teco.
Second lease is Teco SSL. I'll pass these out if you want. These guys do integrated lighting inspection systems. They do work for Toyota, Rivian. Matter of fact, they're on the job with Rivian right now. Actually in Ohio, I think, or Kentucky, one, I can't remember. Anyway, brought some pictures of the work they do. They've actually doubled their workforce. They're working about 7 people right now, which they just started out with the owner and 1 helper, so.
Motion approved 2 times.
All right, we got a motion to approve the resolution and the lease agreement from Commissioner Higdon. Second by Commissioner Young, all in favor? Aye.
And
What kind of vehicle is that, Tom?
that's,
Oil manufacturing.
that's a Rivian.
What?
A Rivian is a new electric truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
We get a motion on water well resolution. And
So moved.
got a motion by Commissioner Young.
Oh,
resolution.
2 times, Josh?
Twice.
Let's see, got a motion by Commissioner Young, second by Commissioner Shields, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you,
Sorry,
sir.
Mike, I was about to get in front of you.
See you guys.
See you, Tom.
You need one of them, Derek. You and me, young.
Thanks for hanging out.
I've read about it. I never, first time I've ever seen one of them.
All right. Let's skip over B and move on to
Yeah, we don't need
Kenny,
to
Chris. Come on up, Chris. Solid Waste Director Chris Dalton. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you. I've got 2 items for you gentlemen this evening. The first, did we decide if that was in January or December?
Let's see.
Anyway,
I think it was December.
a couple months
It
ago,
was December.
a few months ago, you guys had I came before the board and y'all accepted our recommendation as a result of the RFQ process to negotiate and enter into a contract with McGill Associates and BLE for the engineering services of the landfill closure. I put in your packet a copy. There's actually 4 contracts. One contract is with McGill for their piece, and then BLE, the other 3 contracts, which represent 3 different aspects of the work. Soil analysis, so that we get the cap material down properly with the permeability rating, so that we can get a permit to close it. And the big one for BLE is the CQA, and that's somebody literally on the ground every day while the contractor's there, checking everything that needs to be checked so that it can be stamped when the work is done. Those 4 contracts amount to $991,470. So I would like to request the board to approve this contract, authorize myself and/or the county manager to to execute these agreements, and also to allocate same amount, $991,470 from fund balance out of Fund 64, which is our reserve fund, to pay for these items. Happy to take questions. I understand it's a lot of money.
When will work start?
Well, the work will begin immediately. The construction will, of course, be some time. We will have to get a set of drawings, and then the big thing is getting the state to approve said drawings.
So they don't even start on the drawings yet?
No.
How come?
Because they don't have a contract.
You're getting a delay. McGill, we authorized the contract back when you first came.
No, you authorized me to enter into a contract with them, or to accept them through the RFQ process as a qualified bidder who we could negotiate a contract.
How long ago?
2 or 3 months.
And that's just now getting, it
Well-
took that long to get the bids in?
Well, no, it took about a month for them to get the proposal, the contract documents to me, 2 or 3 weeks, and we just missed last month's, I got them like the Monday before last month's Tuesday meeting, so I didn't want to.
How many bids did you receive?
We didn't receive any bids. We did a qualification procedure. We received 3 statement of qualifications. The bid process will come out of this. Once there's a set of drawings, once that set is approved and we get a permit to construct, at that time, we will then begin the bid process for the actual construction.
And so they know how much to bid. They know how much you set aside, right? The bidders.
No, they won't know that.
No, the construction's gonna cost probably $6 million.
6.8 or something we come with, wasn't it, something like that?
It's
$6
probably gonna be in
million.
that neighborhood. But that's not something that, unless they are savvy enough to go into DEQ and look at our documents, they're not gonna know. And in fact, if you look at our closure documents and our closure estimates, for this, they're estimated at 5.2 million, or 5.2 million is what I wrote down, so that must be it. With what's going on in the world right now, that's not, it's gonna be considerably more than that.
A lot of diesel.
As liaison to the link, till I make a motion
Right, we have
to approve
both contracts.
both contracts.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Young to approve both contracts
And the accompanying budget amendment, as he stated. Thank you.
from Fund 64.
64, yeah, which is the closure fund for $991,470.
And a second by Commissioner Higdon. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
How's the progress on the new transfer stations?
That progress is in a holding pattern right now. Finally got back from DOT what they were going to require me to do for ingress and egress. And months ago, you approved McGill some money for some preliminary work. They have drafted a design, I didn't bring the design with me, but I did bring their cost projection to do an engineered decel/turn lane into the property, eastbound.
This is on Highlands Road?
No, sir. No, sir.
Where's this at?
Out at the old Cartiga J School.
That's the only one we're tackling now?
Well, since the bank has taken my entire budget for the project, I'm not looking at anything else at the moment.
Is Nantahala complete?
The Junaluska site, yes.
Pothole field.
Yes.
What? Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. I thought you said auto and I didn't catch the second word. You said potholes. Yes, sir. They probably made new ones by now. We did that so fast, I'm sure that.
What do we do with this?
I just brought that for you to see.
And so,
You don't have to do anything with it. I'll take it back.
Take it home, let your wife read it to you, Glenn.
I mean, what do you need, it needs to get done.
Yes, sir. But, so the next step in that
Is it
project,
Highlands Road the most busy?
yes.
Then,
Then there's basically a three-way tie. Otto, Carson, and Ola.
but they line up at Carson back to the highway.
Yeah, because Carson is one lane,
It's dangerous.
and the other two are not great, but you do have more room. And of course, when we do get this site done, I mean, traffic should never, I mean, I'm not gonna say it'll never be, but the traffic issues will certainly be alleviated.
Think about when summertime gets you, it's gonna
They're,
get much worse.
they're killing us. I mean, we went up, our tonnage went up 20% last year and is on pace to go up another 20% this year. I mean,
Everybody at home.
we're pushing 140, 150 tons a day.
Thank goodness we got a landfill.
Well, unfortunately, we may be building another cell before the completion of this closure. We consumed, I'm not gonna bore you with the details, but we consumed 2 years of space last year on the projections, and we will probably consume about another 2 years this year. Like I said, some of that's in operational. I'm happy to take the time to tell you, but I don't have to. But it's, man, it's filling up fast. I mean, we're gonna have to put a moratorium on building in Highlands or something.
Promise us 50 years.
I'm not saying we won't get there. We're just not gonna get there with this sale. I mean, there's 5 cells to build. And of course, every time you build another one, you gain space back in the one that you previously built. So I'm not saying we won't have, but I'm also didn't anticipate a 40% increase over 2 years in our waste stream. So,
Unbelievable.
But it's positive in a way.
it is a positive in a
It
way.
is a positive
I mean, when you have a landfill, you want to fill it up as fast as possible, while at the same time making it last as long as possible. And,
Just ask our friends across the mountain what it's cost to haul it.
well, just ask we got some friends another mountain over that are in much worse,
In much worse.
much worse shape.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, consideration of change order number 15 on the Macon Middle School.
I had a second
Number
item.
2.
Sorry.
He's got
I was
another.
trying to get you out of here.
Happy to go, sir. The second one is approve, what is this, a resolution?
Resolution, yeah.
Pass a resolution,
Engineering
it's in-
services.
what she said.
Monitoring.
So moved.
Oh, Roy just managed the land.
We have a motion by Commissioner Young,
Second.
second by Commissioner
I'm just
Higgins,
trying
all
to
in
move it
favor?
along.
She can say it faster than I can, apparently. Thank you, guys. See
All
you.
right, consideration of change order number 15. Jack, I was trying to speed it up, sorry.
I'm ready to go home.
Yeah. Call me tomorrow and tell me what happened. So I'll know how to react.
Lori will call you.
She probably will.
Morning, Board.
Hello, Jack.
It feel like morning, doesn't it?
That's what I told Eric, we're literally in the hot seat tonight.
Yeah, you are. It's
Roasting
kind of
in
warm.
here.
This won't take long. Change order here, the one item, the biggest one, 12,650. I'm proud of that one because I was afraid that was the big ticket item that was going to cost about $100,000. So we got out a lot easier on that. What that was, the original plans for the main disconnect panel for that school had called for copper conductors, 500 kcml, which is about that big. A bunch of them, and they used half copper and half aluminum. Well, the amperage rate of use on the aluminum is about half a copper, so we was overrated, and I was afraid we was going to have to pull out all those aluminum conductors and replace about a quarter of a mile of aluminum that was in conduit that was buried under the school. So this is a win. The rest of the stuff is just pretty much housekeeping. The one thing we did add was number 12, infill the flower garden in the northeast wing. I don't know if you're familiar with it. When you go out to the northeast wing, you go outside out of the common area, and you got the little covered walkway. And there's a dirt garden right here, and I call it a dirt garden because that's about all that's there. And the water splashes up on it, and the sidewalks and the kids track it right into school. So our recommendation is to cover that with concrete, make a little patio there.
Any floor reports?
Pardon?
Any floor reports?
Yes, that's good. These guys could probably tell you all about that.
Yes, we accepted the product as revised, held up great in the time it was down, the application they put on it, so we accepted that product, and in doing so, we signed a waiver and accepted the money and the finished product.
Does that money go back into our contingency?
Yeah, well, it'll come back, it'll be at the commissioner's discretion, yeah, it'll be back in the general fund.
We get a motion to approve change order in the amount of $27,960, change order number 15.
How much does that leave us, Lori?
And the accompanying budget amendment of contingency, please.
Okay.
That
Budget amendment
leaves
number.
us. Pardon?
Budget amendment number.
I can't give you a number,
Okay.
but it's, the budget amendment will be from project contingency for 27,960.
Leaving how much?
Leaving 362,136.
We in good shape with that?
We're in good shape. We're gonna start the last wing probably week after next.
Got a motion by Commissioner Young, second by Commissioner Shields, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackson. Thank you, Jackson.
All right. Consideration of resolution regarding referendum on levy of a 1/4 cent county sales and use tax.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. If you'll recall, this was discussed at the budget retreat in February as a potential source of additional revenue. As you can read here in your resolution, whereas the Macon County Board of Commissioners is faced with extraordinary funding pressures related from the need for capital projects for the Macon County school system. That's one of the whereases, if you will, on this resolution. And we discussed this at the budget retreat in conjunction with the Franklin High School project. But as you can see, you know, there are many other projects coming down the pipeline. We're discussing a locker room project at the middle school. We heard from Ahec here tonight, and other capital needs that the schools have as well. What this would do, it would pass the Article 46 quarter cent sales tax. That is basically when you go to your restaurants, purchase clothes, things of that nature. It does not apply to uncooked goods. It does not apply to fuel and things when you go to the grocery store. But what this would do would generate an additional roughly 1.7 million per year in additional revenue that, if the board so chooses, could be used to go towards funding capital projects with the school system. Now, it doesn't have to go toward that. It's general fund. It can be used for anything by the county once that revenue is gained. But we have discussed it in conjunction with the school projects. This referendum is what is required by the general statute to get this ball rolling if the board wants to proceed with it. In number 3 on your resolution, it states the exact form that the question has to be asked on the ballot. That is how it has to look on the ballot. There in number 3. Once we pass this resolution, we'll deliver this resolution to the Board of Elections, and they will publish it no less than 45 days prior to the election being held. So we have a couple of options here. The general statute gives, you'll notice there, it's a blank in number 2 on the date. Being as this is an even numbered year, the board can so choose to do this in the general election or in the primary election. So, however, this board, if this board does desire to proceed with this, as we discussed in February, and leaving you the option here to also choose the date that you would like to proceed with it as well.
Eric, I don't seem to have the first page.
It's on the back.
The 1, 2.
It's on the back, front to back.
Page 4.
Okay, maybe it is that. Is that invisible ink?
Can you not read that?
Page 4.
Here you go, Ron.
I didn't get that.
You can have mine. Here you go.
All right, I'm gonna, mention the same thing that I did at our budget retreat. To me, this is what my son would call a no-brainer, just an easy decision. The elephant in the room is the Franklin High School coming down the pipe with major money to pay for that. So I think I heard from every one of the board members up here that that's pretty much a given unless something crazy happens, sort of world war or something happening. We're gonna be moving forward with some major improvements to the Franklin High School and those facilities. So the question is how do you pay for it? And the question whether or not we're gonna do it, we've already decided we're gonna do it. The question is how are you gonna pay for it? So would you rather pay for it with increase in property taxes? Or would you rather pay for it with letting some of our visitors that pass through this county also help pay for it through a 1/4 cent sales tax increase? As Derek said, based upon initial projections, it'll add another $1.7 million per annum to the general fund. That's a pretty hefty mortgage payment when you look at it in my mind. There's also a reason for the past, since I've been a commissioner, we've been building our fund balance and we've been setting ourselves up in outstanding financial condition as to be able to do this. So we're gonna be able to borrow money cheap and hopefully pay for it with this. So to me, if you're a property owner in this county, to me, it's something you gotta do. Now, whether or not it'll pass referendum, I don't know, but I'll definitely be in support of it. So I think that's how this county is gonna pay for it.
Mr. Chairman, before there's a motion made on the question itself, on number 3, you know, a lot of us have reservations if this can pass. I think the more information we can put on the question on the ballot.
That's by general statute. It has to say
You
that.
we can't
No.
put earmark for school construction?
No, you cannot say what purpose you intend to spend it for on the ballot. You absolutely
We
can't.
could pay to run some
To run some
advertising that.
advertising.
Yeah, I mean, other counties have done, that have done
Jackson
this.
County said exactly that.
Other counties have done this, they've put out FAQ questionnaires and, I think that the liaison committees discussed with the schools potentially some ways to get the word out and talking about it, so.
Is the school board in support of this? We seen a letter from them in support of this?
No, we haven't. I just wanted to get in front of y'all after we talked about it and the board felt good about it in February. The school board don't have the.
But it would help.
Right, it would certainly help, and we could certainly do that, but if we could go ahead and get this, I was just wanting to give you all time enough where if you wanted to hold it in the primary, you could hold it at the primary, or if you wanted to hold it in the general, you could hold it in the general. But the first question will be, the first thing is to get this resolution passed, get it in the hands of the Board of Elections, and I'm certain that, I can't certainly speak for the school board, but I'm certain they'd be in favor of it, and I think you're right, that would help.
A letter from,
Yes.
signed by all of them.
Yeah.
It's a new point, just going to the voters.
Right.
And I'd make a motion, we do this in, 2 contingencies. One, it goes to general election. Always a bigger turnout, more voters, more taxpayers. And secondly, we preview the ballot before it's printed.
Sure.
Final draft.
Sure. And like I said, it says in there that it has to be just that, like it is said exactly in your resolution, but we'll get that. We will definitely preview that beforehand.
What does the liaison committee say, Mr. Chairman?
Go forward.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Higdon. Second by Commissioner Shields. Discussion, I'm gonna reiterate again, anything we can do to help market this and get it off the floor, I just think it's a good thing for the county overall. That's not gonna add a whole lot to a gallon of milk, when we put it this way, 1/4 cent, but over the long road, it definitely will, so.
I think
All the
also
support we can get for it, public support, and Derek is marketing on the table, and Mr. Attorney, is that something we can?
What's the question?
Can this board spend money on marketing, of laying out the pros and the cons of
I think voters smart enough to figure it out.
I can look it up.
I'd look it up, because you're gonna need it.
I think the counties that are around us, they've done this too. It's
I
not.
believe they all have, except for
Every one of 'em.
every one of them that surround us.
All right.
All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, patrol car bid discussion.
Yes, another thing we had discussed at our budget work session that's kind of coming to fruition here, we issued a purchase order for 4 Dodge Durangos to Ilderton Dodge on 11/17 of 2021. The amount of this PO was $140,720. We have since been notified by the Automotive Manufacturing Corporation that the order has been canceled, and they will not be building any more Dodge Durangos in 2022. So with that being said, Sheriff Holland contacted a dealership in Kentucky that had some Dodge Durangos on their lot. They informed him they had enough available for us to purchase. Due to North Carolina General Statute 143-129, the county must formally bid this purchase since it's going to be greater than $90,000. The dealership said that they would respond to our bid once the bid was released. The county will release the bid on Wednesday. That's March the 16th. This is the earliest date that we can due to the advertising requirement, and we'll close the bid on Wednesday, March the 23rd. There is a budget amendment that has prepared. It's based on estimated cost. The budget amendment includes the cost difference for 4 that were budgeted in FY22. So the 4 cars that are in this budget that got canceled by the state contract, that will include those, plus 4 that would have been approved in fiscal year 23. And it will also include enough to cover the difference to purchase 1 replacement vehicle that we received an insurance settlement on that was wrecked in this year, and we received an insurance settlement on. So with that being said, it'll be a total of 9 cars, and we will need also include the cost of equipment needed, the radios, the lights, and the cages. So what we're proposing to do here is get not only the ones that were canceled this year, but as the sheriff was talking to the gentleman, and he can certainly elaborate on it, we need to get these while they're still available. We would budget, of course, moving into next year. We try to keep our sheriff's fleet, we try to keep it current. We try to keep those low mileage cars on the road and keep our road deputies outfitted with new patrol cars. So in next year's budget, we're basically going ahead and getting those now, and they will not be included in next year's budget. We're going to go ahead and we're proposing to purchase 9 of them now while they're there and available, so we don't have to, so then we can get them now. They won't be included in next year's budget. So
None of these are any older than 2021s? They're all 2021s, or are they 2020s, or?
To be honest with you, I can't remember. I don't know if they're,
I don't know.
I can't remember, to be honest. I think they're 2020s, maybe.
I think they're 2022.
2022, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at that. I was looking at the specs.
Based on the spreadsheet that Lindsay did, it says 2022, Durango Police.
And how we found out about it is, I don't do business there. How we found out about it was other agencies surrounding us had bought 22. One agency bought 22, another agency bought several. And we got word that they had some available. So on Friday afternoon at 5 till 5 is when I contacted them and said, yes, we have them. And they're going like hotcakes. Everybody's trying to find.
Are they holding these for us? Do they make a decision?
He told me if we were asking for those 8, tomorrow when I call him, if this meeting goes well tonight, then he will hold them until we go through the process.
They are 2022s, Lindsay texted me. So they are 2022 Dodge Durangos.
The only question I have is, have you tried talking to Bob or Jackie? They can't touch them.
The problem that we have, we don't even have anything to do with that process. We do the bidding process back and do the contract, and we don't have any control of that.
And they will certainly, they can put a bid in. I mean,
they can bid.
If they have them, they can put a bid
If
in.
they have them, they can submit a bid.
They're in our backyard. I'm not saying they can even provide it, but the opportunity means a lot.
Well, they do have that opportunity because Ford and all of them have the same opportunities. And what happens is, and we've gone down this road before, because personally, I think all of you would prefer to buy locally.
Statutes don't allow that.
Statutes don't allow that. And we fought that battle a long time ago. And it comes up with every new commissioner, honestly, because it just doesn't seem right. We have to follow the law. And in fact, you can Google it. There's one sheriff that's having troubles right now in the state of North Carolina because he's done, like I've done, been desperate and started reaching out. And it apparently didn't go the right avenue of being able to purchase those vehicles.
What's the total there?
That was problems.
Total is
243,711
That'll come in fund balance.
fund balance.
And I think it's important for you to know, Josh, Mr. Young, is I don't decide which cars be replaced. A long time ago, we established with our maintenance department, vehicle maintenance, they're the ones that work on them, they know the vehicles better than we do. So he lets us know what cars need to be replaced, and those are the cars that are replaced. The road gets the new cars immediately, they get the new cars, and then people like civil process or school resource officers get the patrol cars that are on the road that are handed down when the fleet is switched over.
And Sheriff, you need to, I think it's important to let the board know that if we approve this tonight, it's still gonna be a while. Once those cars are delivered, there's still lots of stuff to do to those cars.
A whole lot.
And it seems like it takes a long time to get that done, so.
It does.
I don't know how long you're
The
anticipating.
advantage of this time is we're not gonna be getting, the fire departments and us are not gonna be getting cars at the same time. So basically, our cars will be the only ones that are purchased, and they can get right on them.
And speaking to that, as time is of the essence here, General Statute 143, 129 also allows the governing board to delegate approval authority to the county manager. So in other words, when we receive the bids back, under this statute, I can have the authority to approve these bids, and that will just allow us to go ahead and get this ball rolling, get these cars here, and not have to wait for another milestone at the April meeting. So if you approve this, the purchase of these 9 vehicles and the accompanying budget amendment, and also in that motion, delegate the authority for me to approve the bid once the bids come back.
Mr. Chairman, as liaison to the Sheriff's Department, I make a motion that we approve the information provided to the county manager and the sheriff, approve the resolution, the budget resolution, give the county manager authority to proceed after budget receipts.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Bill, and second by Commissioner Shield with a stipulation that they are delivered to Macon County. We don't have to spend the $2,000 in gas. We good?
That's good.
Yeah, all right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Sheriff, you're setting up the new sheriff for failure.
Yeah.
You're already front-loading their budget by removing the cars out of that 2023.
Yeah, well, we're getting them earlier.
So I'm saying, but they won't
And
see
there
it
are no
when they
more
get
Dodge
up.
Chargers either, are they, available?
No, we can't find any.
I mean, they're
We don't
not
want
gonna
them.
produce none. Whatever they got produced is it.
They won't see it in their budget when they use yours for the following year. They'll be like, how come there's no new cars?
I have my budget for 6 months before they get it.
The highway patrol's going to SUVs, some kind of SUV.
We've quickly found that the Dodge does not work well here because so many of our roads are off-roads, back roads, and the underpinning of those, they sit low to the ground, and they don't do well in anything.
You talk about 441 South.
That's good.
All right. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Motion approved, Mr.
We got a
Chairman.
motion by Commissioner Higdon,
Second.
second by Commissioner Young. Lori, you confident with that audit contract?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have 2 appointments, Airport Authority.
Yes, sir, under the Airport Authority, as liaison of the Airport Authority, we have 2 appointments, Mr. Jack Horton, who is filling an unexpired term, and Mr. Richard Rhodes. They're both very competent, very active members of the Airport Authority. The term of appointment is for 6 years. I'm making a motion that we appoint Mr. Horton and Mr. Rhodes to the 2 6-year terms.
Motion by Commissioner Bill, second by Commissioner Young. All in favor? Aye. Library Board.
Library Board, as liaison to them, the reappointment of Mr. Bill Dyer and Debbie Talent to the Macon County Library Board of Trustees. Mr. Dyer's expires in March, Ms. Talent's expires in April. Both are eligible and willing to serve, and there again, these are two volunteers who are intricate to the progress of the library, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion we approve these two.
Motion approved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Higdon,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Derek, where did I miss that, I thought you had something in here, maybe that was in the consent agenda about the chairs. Was that in the consent agenda?
Yeah.
The school chairs?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's approved.
It's approved.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I remember reading that, I was like.
Yeah, I
did
gave
miss
y'all
it.
an explanation in that consent.
Okay. Is there any reason for a closed session?
Motion to adjourn, Mr.
I
Chairman.
have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Higdon,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bill, all in favor?
Aye.